Sister smirked. You're not invited to my wedding. It's for family only. Mom smiled and said, So proud of you, sweetheart. I just nodded. Perfect. Then I'll pull my name off the family account. They laughed about it together in the chat for hours. But by morning, their faces were pale. Mother begged. Sister cried. I always thought family was supposed to be a two-way street. You give, they give. But in mine, it was a damn one-lane highway, and I was the only one driving. My younger sister, Chelsea, had always known how to make herself the center of attention and how to make people pay for the show. She wasn't evil, just entitled. She floated through life like everyone owed her something. And for years, I played along. Covered her rent when she got fired from that dog grooming place. Paid off her credit card once because she'd forgotten it was still connected to an old Amazon Prime trial. Let her borrow my car for 3 months straight while I Ubered to work. And the worst part, she never said thank you. Not once. She just acted like it was normal, like I was supposed to pick up the slack because I had no kids, no husband, and her favorite line, no real responsibilities. But nothing made it clearer where I stood than what happened last weekend. We were at our parents' house for what was supposed to be a final planning meeting for her wedding. Chelsea was on the couch in leggings and Brian's hoodie, scrolling through Pinterest like she was choosing a yacht. She started rattling off honeymoon options. Bora Bora, Greece, some overwater villa in the Maldives, and casually mentioned that flights were going to be about $3,200. Then she looked at me. She didn't even ask directly. She just said, Well, you already paid for the venue. What's a little more? I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe she thought I was still on the hook for the circus. I told her I wasn't paying for the honeymoon. That was her and Brian's job, not mine. She didn't say anything for a second. Then she put her phone down, stood up, and with the fakest smile I've ever seen, said, You're not invited to my wedding. It's family only. And just like that, Mom clapped. Literally clapped. Proud of you, honey. I looked at both of them. No one flinched. No one laughed. They meant it. So, I smiled right back and said, Perfect. Then I'll pull my name off the family account. Chelsea's mouth twitched. Mom looked confused like I was bluffing, but I wasn't. I went home and immediately logged into the joint wedding account, the one I'd been filling for the past year. I left just enough for the vendors I personally hired and pulled the rest. I also texted Brian and told him I wouldn't be covering the rest of their rent for October or November. It was time to grow up. That night, they joked about it in the group chat. Chelsea sent a meme of a girl crying into a pile of receipts. Mom responded with a laughing emoji. Brian chimed in for once, writing, Good riddance. I didn't respond. I just left the chat. But by morning it hit them. I woke up to 14 missed calls from Mom, 2 from Chelsea, 3 from Brian. Then came the text. Mom begged me to reconsider, said I was overreacting. Chelsea asked how I could do this to her right before the biggest day of her life. Brian, who's never once shown an ounce of backbone, called me selfish. Then Mom showed up at my door. She actually drove over at 7:30 in the morning. No makeup, pajama pants, slippers, like it was some kind of emergency. Chelsea was in the car, face blotchy, hair wet like she'd cried herself into a shower and back out again. Mom asked what I was thinking, why I'd sabotage my own sister's wedding. I told her I didn't sabotage anything. I just stopped playing my part in a script they wrote without me. They looked like they didn't recognize me. That's fine. They were about to meet a whole new version of me. For 2 full days after I cut the funding, I didn't hear a single word. Not a text, not a call. The family chat went dead silent. I thought maybe Chelsea was regrouping, trying to pull together the scraps of her perfect little wedding fantasy. Or maybe she was too busy being pissed off to even look at her phone. Either way, the silence was almost satisfying. Then on the 3rd day, Chelsea broke it. She posted a video on Instagram, a slideshow of grainy stock photos, backyard weddings, mason jars with fake flowers, couples holding hands in front of barbecue grills. The caption said, Real love doesn't need a big budget. See you all soon for our intimate, authentic day, surrounded by real family only. And then came the kicker. She tagged me publicly with a smirking face emoji. The same hour I got an email invite from some free Canva template. I opened it just to see how bad it was. Backyard wedding, Brian's uncle's house. Bring your own drinks. Donations instead of gifts welcome. Casual dress encouraged. It looked like a 4th grade graduation party, but I RSVP'd yes. Not because I wanted to support her. I just wanted to be there. Not out of spite, but for clarity. I needed to see what my silence had created. The day of the wedding, the sky was overcast, humid. I pulled into a yard that was already packed with cars and stepped out into what smelled like someone had been grilling hot dogs for 10 hours straight. There were folding chairs in the grass, some of them mismatched, plastic tablecloths, a Bluetooth speaker on a card table. Chelsea's old high school friend, Jenna, was DJing from her phone, standing behind a cooler of Coors Light. The music kept cutting out. The kids were throwing rocks at the fence. 2 of the catering trays were empty, even though dinner hadn't started yet. Chelsea's dress was stiff and shiny, probably secondhand or some clearance rack nightmare. Brian looked like he hadn't slept in 3 days. Mom was there in a faded pink sundress, looking annoyed, but faking a smile for photos. They hadn't even bothered renting a tent. Still, Chelsea acted like this was exactly how she'd imagined it. She strutted around like some saint of budget romance, kissing cheeks, calling it a vibe. I sat near the back, barely touching the food. Hardly anyone spoke to me. A few people stole glances, clearly briefed on whatever version of the story they'd been told that I was about to leave when Chelsea grabbed the microphone. Everyone turned. She stood in the middle of the reception area, near the fire pit. Her smile was practiced. I knew that smile too well. I just want to say thank you to everyone here. The people who matter. The ones who didn't abandon us when things got hard. The ones who know family isn't about money. It's about love, about loyalty. A few claps followed. Then she turned toward me. I know some women struggle to understand what it means to build a family. Some women just throw money at things because they know they'll never experience the real thing. Like carrying a child, being a mother. I froze. She smiled wider. But that's okay. Not everyone's meant to be a mom. Some people are just meant to fund other people's happiness until they're not needed anymore. The crowd went dead quiet. A few looked stunned, others gave nervous laughs. One older relative even gasped. Brian stood behind her, motionless. I stood up, crossed the yard, and took a full glass of champagne from the bar. Without saying a word, I poured it slowly over her head. No screaming, no slap, just silence. She stood there, drenched. I turned and walked out, got in my car, drove home. No one stopped me. That night my phone exploded. I ignored every call from Mom, every text from Brian. Chelsea tried 5 times. I didn't answer, but I read every message from the guests. One woman wrote, "I don't know you well, but what she did was disgusting. You didn't deserve that." Another said, "She embarrassed herself, not you." For the next 3 days, Mom didn't stop. Calls, texts, voicemails. Then she showed up. This time, not to beg, to blame. At 7 a.m., my doorbell rang like a fire alarm. Mom stood on the porch in her nightgown, arms crossed. "Be happy now." She shoved past me like she owned the place. I didn't stop her. She paced, words flying like knives, said I'd humiliated the family, ruined Chelsea's big day, made her look like a fool. Not one word about what Chelsea said. Nothing about the infertility jab, the cruelty. "You escalated it," she kept saying. "You didn't have to pour that drink. You made it ugly." I stayed quiet. Eventually, she ran out of breath and left with one last line that stuck. "You just couldn't let her have her moment." The door slammed so hard the windows rattled. Later that day, Brian texted for the first time in months. Said I crossed a line, called me petty, jealous, vindictive. His exact words. "You don't get to punish people just because your life didn't go how you wanted it to." That one hit harder than I'd admit. Day 2 came, more calls from Mom. Her tone had softened. She said Chelsea wasn't eating, hadn't left her room, spent all day scrolling through messages from guests asking what was wrong. People were backing out of their wedding gifts, even asking for refunds on the honeymoon fund. I asked if Chelsea had at least acknowledged what she said. Silence. Then Mom said, "She was emotional. She didn't mean it. And besides, she was right, wasn't she?" I hung up. Then something unexpected happened. Guests started reaching out. Friends, relatives, even 2 of my coworkers who'd come as +1s. Dozens of messages, all saying the same thing. What she did was cruel. That wasn't a toast. It was an attack. You didn't ruin anything. Anyone would have reacted the same. I'm not even close to you. But that was hard to watch. She owes you. You deserved better. I screenshotted everyone. Didn't reply. I wasn't looking for pity. I just wanted proof that someone had seen the truth. By day 3, silence. No Instagram posts, no wedding photos, nothing from Chelsea or Brian. Just one text from Mom asking if I was okay. Then a call that night. Her voice softer than I'd ever heard it. She canceled the honeymoon, she said. She's been crying nonstop. Too embarrassed to leave the house. People are talking. Then, quietly, maybe we failed you too, Stacy. Maybe we should have defended you more. I didn't know what to say. It wasn't a full apology, but it was more than I'd ever gotten. And then, on the 4th night, almost 11 p.m., I sat in the dark with a glass of wine when I heard a knock. Soft, then again louder. I opened the door. It was Chelsea, hair messy, eyes swollen, makeup smeared like she'd half wiped it off mid-cry. She looked wrecked. She didn't speak, just held out her wedding heels. When I didn't take them, she dropped to her knees, clutching them like an offering. First, there were no tears, just silence and shallow breaths. Finally, she whispered, I messed up. Her voice cracked. The mask was gone. She said she was angry, humiliated, pressured, that everyone was watching her life fall apart, and I was the easiest target. Then came the part that stunned me. Brian told me to say it. I froze. She showed me her phone, messages from him. Hit her where it hurts. Say something about her never having kids. She'll back off. Another read. This is your day. Don't let her take the spotlight. My stomach turned. Chelsea said she wanted to delete them, but couldn't. I told her to come in. She sat on the couch, trembling, then confessed she wasn't even pregnant. She'd made it up to make the wedding seem more special. The lie had snowballed until she used my truth, my infertility, to sell it. When I asked what she wanted, she said quietly, I want my sister back. I didn't answer right away. Then I told her forgiveness wasn't free. She'd have to earn it, starting with honesty. She nodded, then said, I'm thinking of leaving him. She admitted Brian had been messaging another woman, sneaking out at night, bragging about her money and their perfect life. The whole wedding, the fake pregnancy, the performance, it all made sense now. Chelsea broke down completely, sobbing into her hands. I held her for the first time in years. That night, she slept on my couch like when we were kids. Only this time, she wasn't hiding from thunder. She was hiding from her life. In the morning, she sat on my kitchen floor, knees to her chest, and whispered, I don't think I even love him. Then she showed me more messages, proof Brian had only ever loved the image, not her. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was something real. For once, Chelsea wasn't pretending anymore. Brian never acted like he was in love, more like he was managing a brand deal. That afternoon, Chelsea packed a duffel, went home while he was at work, grabbed what she could, and checked into a cheap hotel. No note, no goodbye, just gone. But this time, she didn't shut me out. She called, texted, kept me in the loop. When Mom phoned that night, panicked because she couldn't reach Chelsea, I told her she was safe and needed space. For once, Mom listened. Later, Chelsea showed up at my place with fast food and said she was done crying. She wanted a plan. She wanted a lawyer. The next morning, we went together. Chelsea showed up in jeans and a hoodie, calm, honest, stripped of every performance. When the lawyer asked about support, she looked at me and said, not anymore. But I've got what matters now. Afterward, she said quietly, I wasted so much time trying to be what Mom wanted. I didn't even like my own wedding. Then she asked me to come with her to Mom's, to tell her everything. That evening, we stood on our childhood porch. Mom opened the door, already crying. Chelsea told her everything. The lies, the fake pregnancy, Brian's manipulation. Mom broke down. Then, for the first time ever, she apologized. To Chelsea, and to me. I'm sorry I made you invisible. As we left, Chelsea said, I'm done pretending. I just want to be real. Back at my place, she took off her wedding ring and set it on the counter. That chapter's done, she said. Then, softly, I think I'm going to move. Start over. 2 weeks after the divorce, she did. Moved to Asheville, waitressing, living small, sending me photos of chipped mugs and stray cats like they were treasures. Our conversations were careful at first, but real. She told me she'd called Brian once. He brushed her off. And that was when she knew for sure. He never loved her, just the image. A few weeks later, she mailed me a letter. For pages. She owned everything. Every cruel word, every lie. She didn't beg forgiveness, just hoped I still saw her as worth forgiving. I read it twice,